What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Was not even going to record a video tonight. It doesn't seem like there's a lot happening. And then I sat down, I was looking at the Bitcoin chart and the Cardano chart. And each chart actually has something significant that I really want to talk about, because as we do wait for the next move, whether it's a power move to the upside, capitulation to the downside, we never know. This is crypto. Anything can happen. But while we wait, I think this data on both charts is very worthwhile, and it is significant. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into this video today, sponsored by Minutes Network. Shout out to Minutes Network. This is Bitcoin on the daily. As you know, we've been tracking, a lot of people have been tracking the inverse head and shoulders. Not only just tracking it, but just, man, let's go Bitcoin. Rooting for Bitcoin to set up this right shoulder. You can see the right shoulder is in play. It would have been really nice if we saw the right shoulder bounce at the 50-day moving average, right? And that was the end of the dip. And then we're making a move to the neckline, and we're breaking the neckline, and then we're heading towards the $90,000 target to the upside. That didn't happen, right? But here's why this is significant. This chart right now that I want to talk about. We've been watching, how can the right shoulder set up, right? And there's no guarantee it will. We might not get an actual inverse head and shoulders, because if we don't get the right shoulder, it's game over. If Bitcoin keeps falling, it's game over. But here's the deal. We talked about this previously, which is the swing low of the head to the neckline, up to the swing high of the neckline. And it's this Fibonacci retracement in green that you see right there. The 618 is around 62,400. The 786 around 59,800, 60,000. It is just below where Bitcoin actually is right now. And the range right there is incredibly small. And on this daily chart, and this is where things are getting, interesting. It's just been 3 days now, really, of just sideways within the range. The question is, are the bulls going to win? Or the bears going to win? And what does the move look like? You can see the 200-day moving average, and this is where things are getting even crazier for the Bitcoin charts. The 200-day moving average, just below where Bitcoin is, it's a nice move if Bitcoin can show support above that area. But if you see where it's headed, I don't know if you notice this area right here on the screen. You see this rectangle? Many of you know what that rectangle is. That is a big, big indicator of mine. If we go to the weekly, there's that rectangle. It's a Fibonacci bull market door. So it's the bull market high of the last cycle. It's a bear market low. And it's just this bull market door area. We break that bull market door area. That's, for me, a really big indicator that things are really getting started for this bull cycle that we're getting ready, I think, to enjoy. And this happened, this break above, in February, March area. And now we've just been kind of seeing support above. It's always the question, will that support remain? You go 2 cycles ago, as many of you know, we tested that support back then before going higher. So right now on the daily chart, very interesting to see Bitcoin hovering just above that area. Now, I want to mention something on the monthly, and I know this isn't the first time I've talked about this, but I have to mention this because maybe Bitcoin falls, right? Maybe Bitcoin falls deep. It just goes lower into this Fibonacci range, right? I think we talked about the other day, there's some liquidation data. 54,000 could be the next leg down if that's going to happen. And, that's well within the Fibonacci range. So if that were to happen, it is what it is. We're on a roller coaster ride. Most of us, if you've been here for a while, we're used to this. But if you go to a monthly chart, I just want to point this out to you. 365 days after the first Bitcoin halving, 2012, 365 days was the bull market high. After 2016 halving, 518 days was the bull market high. After 2020 halving, 549 days was the bull market high. Right now, 2024 halving, the actual high that Bitcoin had was before the halving. Point is, if Bitcoin goes lower, this macro chart that we see here, I genuinely think for this cycle, we are at the beginning of the cycle. Of course, crypto can dip again and go lower. But if you zoom out on this monthly chart, it's so clear to me. And you look at the RSI hasn't even been overbought. I've been talking about this nonstop. Many of you are probably sick of it, but so much room to the upside. I just wanted to talk about that. So that's Bitcoin. That's what I'm watching for on the short term. I would say very significant charts right now. Let's see which way Bitcoin goes, to the upside out of this Fibonacci or to the downside out of this right shoulder support. That will be significant. Let's cruise over to ADA. And before we do, shout out to Minutes Network, sponsored with the video, lowest cost international termination. What is that? This project, this is an exciting project. I really like projects like this that are taking the real world and absolutely making moves. International termination is the process, a very simple process of routing a phone call from one country to another. But there's a lot involved there. It's simple to explain, but there's a ton involved there. And they're basically taking telecommunications and they're now powering it by the blockchain. And here's the deal. And I want to mention a couple points in this video. They're absolutely making moves. They just announced this yesterday. Minutes Network delighted to confirm a strategic partnership with SEW and is poised to onboard 1.2 billion users into Minutes Network over the next 2 years. This was just yesterday. And here's another one just today. Hours ago, I think. Minutes Network signs its first state-level collaboration MOU with the government of Samoa. Memorandum of Understanding. Minutes Network, the world's first DePIN blockchain-based wholesale telecommunications voice carrier, aiming to be the world's largest voice carrier by user base, delighted to announce has signed an MOU with the government of Samoa. By creating a revenue share model, Minutes Network allows governments to monetize mobile applications that are otherwise cost generative. Right now, while I'm talking, everybody, or after this video, go follow them on Twitter or on X and stay up to date with what they're working on. Insane team, all-star team, many of the names many of you might recognize on this team. So please go follow them. Right now, actually, this is just yesterday, Minutes Network token public sale is now open. You can participate and buy nodes by visiting, and they have their website there. So especially when we're at this part of a cycle, just having projects like this, building things like this in a no-nonsense way, in a non-hype way, that's what I'm talking about. This I like. So go follow Minutes Network, everybody. And thanks to Minutes Network for sponsoring Crypto Capital Venture. Let's pivot over to Cardano. All right, so Cardano on the weekly or the monthly, we know. I think I've done a recent zoomed out, and the weekly we know as well. We've talked about so many different data points. In this video, I want to talk about one data point. It's an indicator that really for the life of this chart, every time, and it's been 10 times this has happened, Cardano gets to this area, Cardano makes a move to the upside. And to the actual area that we're going to look at in this context is the 20-week moving average. That's from 52 cents. A lot of people might be like, well, we're at 38 cents, 52 cents, like whoop-de-doo. It's like, is that going to be the all-time high for this cycle for ADA? And the purpose of I'm not trying to hype up 52 cents like it's an amazing thing. But if ADA can break above that 20-week moving average, for me, that's a beginning of ADA's bull cycle type of thing. And it's the same thing that happened last cycle, right? And this was back in November 2020. Here's the indicator on ADA. And I've talked about it before, but it's going to be now it's worth talking about more now, because if we look at this, ADA fell into the oversold environment on the stock RSI in beginning of April 1st. And so this stock RSI is a quicker moving momentum oscillator. I often use the RSI way more often than the stock RSI just because it's a slower moving. As somebody that's macro minded, I like to just keep an eye on where reversals are happening, overbought, oversold, all that good stuff. But the stock RSI, when we analyze data and we're patient for these types of moves like this one, setting up on the weekly, I think it just really adds some flavor to the charts and to analyzing cycles. So what I mean by this is if you look at ADA right now in the oversold territory at the bottom of the screen on the stock RSI, let me close the RSI. Every time, and I don't know if I've ever gone back every single time, but every time ADA has done this, look at this. Fell into oversold. This was really the beginning of the bear market in 2018. So we're talking about like 6 years of data here, right? Here's the first time. RSI oversold. Stock RSI oversold. Now, it was there for quite some time, and then it exited. And what did it do? The exit out of the stock RSI signaled 20-week moving average. And yeah, ADA at the time went higher, and we will look to see if ADA goes higher, especially at this part of the cycle. But I want to just point out 20-week moving average. Tested. Not even broken, tested. It broke, but it was tested. Second time, stock RSI. Falls into stock RSI. It exits the stock RSI. Now look at this. What happened though during that process? 20-week moving average tested, right? And then it obviously consolidated, came back down, broke back up. And then what happened? Third time, oversold on the stock RSI. And then what followed that? 20-week moving average tested. Fourth time, right below the stock RSI. Now, this is significant data point because this part of the cycle then is essentially where we are right now, right after the Bitcoin halving, right? So that was the fourth time. 20-week moving average came out of stock RSI. It wasn't only tested, but that was the beginning of ADA's bull run. So this fourth stock RSI from a data perspective we could have waited all of these times, and this number 11 time that we have on the screen could be most similar to that. We have to wait and see. But then we have the fifth time right here, 20-week moving average tested and broken. The sixth time, 20-week moving average comes out of stock RSI, comes out of it. Guess what? Even in a bear market, the 20-week moving average was tested. My point that I'm trying to make is every time out of the stock RSI, when it exits, 20-week moving average tested. Yeah, ADA failed and it went lower, but the 20-week moving average was tested. Eighth time, 20-week moving average tested. Ninth time, 20-week moving average tested. Yeah, there's failure. It's a bear market. 10th time, 20-week moving average tested and broken, exiting the bear market. Now, 20-week moving average is up here around 52 cents. We are still in the stock RSI oversold territory. And everybody, we've been down here for quite some time. Maybe we stay down here longer. Maybe ADA goes lower. But I genuinely think for the 11th time, ADA will exit the stock RSI on oversold. And it is one of the most significant times that this happens because this is post-2024 halving, very similar to post-2020 halving when this was the beginning of ADA's bull market. So the question is, and the significance of it is, when will it happen? This is what I'm watching for because this right now, the 20-week moving average around 52 cents, breaking above that at this part of the cycle especially is critical. You know, back here, we could say, you know, it's important for that to happen because we need to exit the bear market. Now we're saying it's important for this to happen because ADA needs to start its bull market. Cardano season needs to begin. And that is right now sitting at around 52 cents. That's incredibly relevant to me. Not only that, but if we just take the 50-cent area, that's just a mental area, right? Break that, start putting in higher highs and higher lows above 50 cents, above the 20-week moving average. When that happens, this is, in my view, the picture of the beginning of ADA's bull market and altcoin season likely. So I wanted to just go over that data. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a patience game, especially when we're talking on the macro, everybody. But I thought it was really cool data to see that stock RSI. I'm really, really curious to see when, I should say if, because there's no guarantees, but when is this going to exit out of oversold and we're going to get a move at least to test the 20-week moving average. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate you cruising through. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.